Everyone saw the trade, but almost nobody understood what it actually meant. The moment Anthony Davis landed in Dallas and Luka Doncic put on the purple and gold, the internet lost its mind. Hot takes everywhere. People screaming it was the steal of the decade. Others saying the Lakers had completely lost the plot. But here's what nobody is talking about. That trade, it was just the surface, just the part they wanted you to see. Because underneath it, in boardrooms, in ownership meetings, in conversations that never make the news cycle, the Los Angeles Lakers have been quietly assembling something much bigger than a roster move, something that goes way beyond bringing in a new superstar. We're talking about a shift in power, a new philosophy, a franchise that looked at the next decade and said, we're done reacting. From now on, we set the agenda. Today, I'm going to break down every layer of what's really happening in Los Angeles, the ownership angle, the succession plan, the LeBron factor, and why none of this, absolutely none of it, is an accident. By the end of this video, you will never look at the Lakers the same way again. Let's get into it. Let's start with what everyone thinks they understand. Anthony Davis to the Dallas Mavericks. Luka Doncic to the Lakers. When ESPN first broke the news, the reaction was pure disbelief. AD wasn't supposed to be movable. He was the guy, the second star, the rim protector, the rim runner, the piece that made the whole puzzle work alongside LeBron. He was literally on the court when Los Angeles hoisted that 2020 championship trophy. So why would the Lakers ever give him up? The easy answer is Luka Doncic, because honestly, at 26 years old, Luka is the kind of talent that makes everything else negotiable. His numbers over the past few seasons place him in a conversation with only 2 or 3 players in NBA history at the same age. He's a franchise-defining talent, full stop, but there's a deeper answer that goes beyond just, we got a better player. The truth about Anthony Davis is something Lakers fans have known for years but never wanted to say out loud. He is one of the most gifted big men the sport has ever produced, and one of the most unreliable. Injuries, load management, games missed when the team needed him most. A superstar level contract paired with question mark level durability. Over time, that combination doesn't just hurt you on the court, it handcuffs you financially. It limits your flexibility. It makes it nearly impossible to build depth around your stars because so much cap space is tied up in a player you can never fully count on. The Doncic trade wasn't just an upgrade at the star position. It was a reset of the entire financial and competitive structure of the franchise. Davis leaving meant cap relief. It meant roster flexibility. It meant the Lakers could stop building their team around avoiding his weaknesses and start building around maximizing a player who, when healthy, wants to be the engine of everything. The smoke and mirrors worked perfectly. The world debated whether AD would fit in Dallas, whether Doncic could lead a team to a title, whether LeBron was okay playing second fiddle. Meanwhile, the Lakers front office was making a completely different set of decisions, and almost no one noticed. To really understand what's happening with the Lakers right now, you need to understand a name that doesn't show up in highlight reels or box scores. Mark Walter. If you follow sports beyond basketball, you probably know this name. Walter is the billionaire co-founder of Guggenheim Partners, one of the largest asset management firms on the planet. We're talking north of $300 billion under management. He's also a principal owner of the Los Angeles Dodgers, which is relevant, and I'll explain why in a second. Walter has been quietly increasing his stake and influence in the Lakers organization for the past several years. And when someone like Mark Walter moves from minority investor to the most powerful voice in the ownership group, it is not a small thing. Here's why this matters so much. Before Walter's influence grew, the Lakers operated like many legacy franchises do. It's with a kind of brand confidence that sometimes replaced actual strategic thinking. They assumed that being the Lakers was enough to attract stars, that the purple and gold would always be a destination. That LeBron coming to LA was the beginning of a new dynasty that would just sustain itself. That's not how championships are built. Look at what Walter did with the Dodgers. When he became the lead owner, that franchise was coming out of bankruptcy. They were restricted, they were limited, they had a great stadium and a great history and almost nothing else. Within a few years, the Dodgers became arguably the best run organization in baseball, analytics infrastructure, elite player development, medical and training resources that no other team could match, and most importantly, a long-term vision that didn't panic when one season didn't go perfectly. That is the blueprint Walter brings to Los Angeles. Process over reaction, structure over improvisation, long-term thinking instead of what do we do to compete right now. The Doncic trade didn't happen in a vacuum. It happened because there is now a different kind of power in the Lakers ownership group. A willingness to make the bold call, a financial backing that makes competitors nervous, and a front office that's now accountable to an owner who doesn't accept excuses, only results. Nothing about this restructuring is random, not a single move. Now let's talk about Jeanie Buss, because her role in all of this is more important than most analysts give her credit for. For those who need a quick refresher, Jeanie is the governor of the Lakers, daughter of Jerry Buss, the legendary owner who built the Showtime Lakers dynasty in the 1980s and turned Los Angeles into the gold standard of NBA franchises. She carries that legacy every single day, and unlike some franchise governors who are focused purely on wins and losses, Jeanie has always been concerned with something broader. She thinks about identity, about what it means to be the Lakers, about what the purple and gold represent not just to Los Angeles, but to the entire basketball world. Here's the thing about the LeBron era. It was incredible, but it was always on borrowed time. The 2020 championship was real. The playoff runs were real. The highlights were real. But everyone knew in the back of their minds that LeBron James is a phenomenon passing through. He's not a franchise player in the traditional sense. He's a force of nature that elevates wherever he goes. And when that force of nature eventually moves on, what's left? If you built your entire identity around one person, you're left with nothing. Jeanie Buss watched that happen, and she decided the Lakers needed a new foundation, a player young enough to grow with the city, someone whose best years were still ahead, someone who could become, over time, as synonymous with the Lakers as Kobe was, as Magic was. Luka Doncic at 26 years old is exactly that player. With a maximum contract extension, Doncic could wear the Lakers uniform for the next 10 to 12 years. Think about that for a second. That's an entire generation of Lakers fans who will grow up knowing only one era, the Luka era. Kids who are 10 years old right now will be in college when he's still in his prime. That's not just a basketball decision. That's a brand decision, a legacy decision. And Doncic isn't just talented, he's magnetic. He's the type of player who goes viral for his game, his personality, his authenticity. He connects with casual fans and hardcore analytics guys equally. He has genuine global appeal at a time when the NBA is aggressively expanding in Europe, Asia, and Latin America. A Slovenian superstar in Los Angeles? That's marketing gold on a level the franchise hasn't had since Kobe's prime. For Jeanie Buss, Luka Doncic isn't just the best player available. He's the shield for her family's legacy. The guarantee that 20 years from now, when people talk about the great Lakers eras, the Buss family will still be the architects of the latest chapter. That's a motivation that goes way beyond the next playoff run. And now we get to the part of the story that makes everyone in Los Angeles a little uncomfortable. LeBron James, 41 years old, still on the court. Still dropping 30-point performances that make you forget for a moment that you're watching a man who has played more minutes than almost anyone in NBA history. Physically, he remains one of the most extraordinary athletes on the planet, but everyone knows how this ends. It's not a question of if LeBron retires, it's a question of when. And the question nobody in the front office wants to answer out loud is, what happens to the Lakers when he does? History gives us a pretty clear warning. Look at the Chicago Bulls after Michael Jordan retired, one of the greatest dynasties in sports history. And when Jordan walked away, the franchise fell off a cliff for years. The Cleveland Cavaliers after LeBron left the first time. The Miami Heat in the years following Dwyane Wade's decline. When a franchise builds its entire identity around an irreplaceable superstar and doesn't plan for life after them, the fallout can last a decade. The Lakers have been there before. The post-Kobe era was painful. They know what that valley looks like, and they have zero interest in going back. So here's the brilliant part of the Doncic move that most people are missing. By bringing Luka in while LeBron is still playing, the Lakers aren't just upgrading their roster. They're engineering a seamless transition that will make LeBron's eventual departure feel like a natural evolution rather than a catastrophic loss. Think about it. Right now, LeBron isn't the number one option anymore. He's the veteran, the mentor, the living legend who teaches the next generation how to handle pressure, how to lead, how to win in Los Angeles. It's like having Magic Johnson in the locker room passing wisdom to a young Kobe. Except the handoff is happening in real time, in public, on a nightly basis. Every game Luka plays alongside LeBron, he learns, he adapts, he builds his relationship with the city and the fan base. By the time LeBron decides to step away, Doncic won't need an introduction. He'll already be the guy, already loved, already established. The torch doesn't just get passed, it gets carefully, deliberately transferred over the course of a season or two, so gradually that fans barely feel the shift. That is one of the most sophisticated succession plans in recent NBA history. And the Lakers are executing it right now in plain sight, while most people are debating whether Luka's three-point percentage will improve. Now let's zoom out and look at everything together, because when you put all four pieces side by side, what you're looking at isn't just a franchise making moves. You're looking at an organization that decided at every level simultaneously to rebuild itself from the inside out. It starts with ownership. Mark Walter bringing a new standard of professionalism, financial muscle, and long-term strategic thinking to a franchise that had been operating on reputation alone for too long. It continues with the trade, Anthony Davis departing not as a failure, but as the necessary sacrifice to clear the runway for something bigger. His exit created cap space, narrative space, and the flexibility to build a team around a different kind of star. Then comes the foundation. Luka Doncic at 26, locked in with a max extension, becoming not just the best player on the court, but the living symbol of a franchise's rebirth, young enough to carry the torch for a decade, charismatic enough to make the whole world care, global enough to push the Lakers brand into new markets, and underneath all of it, the transition plan. LeBron James in his final chapter serving a role he may not have expected, not just player, but bridge. The greatest to ever do it, using his remaining time in purple and gold to make sure the next era has everything it needs to succeed. This is not a roster move. This is an empire being constructed. And the most impressive part? It happened while everyone was distracted, while fans were arguing about trade grades and fit questions, and whether AD would be happier in Dallas, while analysts were running through Doncic's playoff numbers. While LeBron was being asked at every press conference about his legacy and his future, the Lakers front office was quiet, moving pieces, aligning interests, building something that doesn't just aim to win the next championship. It aims to make sure the franchise is positioned to contend for the next 20 years. The greatest moves in basketball don't happen under the bright lights of draft night or trade deadline day. They happen in the decisions behind the decisions. In the ownership structure, in the long-term contract philosophy, in understanding that the team you're building isn't just for this season, it's for the generation of fans who don't even know they're Lakers fans yet. Los Angeles isn't just building a team, they're building a dynasty, quietly, methodically, right in front of our eyes, and now you're one of the few people who can actually see it happening. So let me ask you something. When you first saw that Doncic trade go down, did you think it was just a basketball move, or did something feel bigger about it? Because I'd argue that what we're watching with the Lakers right now is one of the most calculated franchise rebuilds in modern NBA history, and we're only in the early chapters. If you want to keep breaking down the real stories behind the headlines, not just the stats and box scores, but the power moves and strategy shifts that actually shape this league, subscribe and hit the notification bell, because every week, that's exactly what we do here. And drop a comment below. Do you think the Lakers win a championship with Luka Doncic before LeBron retires? Or does the real run start after the King steps away? I'm reading every single comment. Let's talk about it. See you in the next one.